Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I Am the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Dale, Lord Frey, Grim, Clover, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. I just recorded a video talking about the decline of Star Wars and how America really needs to let it go. And I imagine the same is true for Star Trek, its competitor franchise that I don't really know all that much about. I don't really care for it. I don't really have any opinion on the Star Trek franchise as it actually is, because I know absolutely nothing about it. The thing I do know about Star Trek is that its legacy has led to a severe decline in American society and culture. Something that I think needs to be called out more. It needs to be addressed more, because I keep seeing this on really pro-communist message boards like anti-work and stuff like that. How Star Trek has this supposedly utopian society where nobody has to work and we should strive towards that, when that simply isn't possible when you get right down to it. Everyone has to work, everyone has to contribute to society to keep things functioning and working and stuff like that. This idea that you shouldn't be expected to work or that working is beneath you, that concept needs to die, right? That's a concept that's just it's a commie ideal that just doesn't work in reality, because people don't realize that everything you do has an effect on the people around you and on yourself, right? You need to work to keep your house clean, to work at your job, to work in your personal life, to take care of yourself and stuff like that. This idea that everything will someday be automated, that you will not have to have any responsibility at all, is a fantasy. It's not real. It can't possibly happen, right? But Star Trek, for some reason, seems to be the series, the defining TV show that kind of promoted this idea that someday we will progress past petty differences, we'll progress past capitalism, we'll progress past racism, we'll progress past disease and having all these problems, and just spend our time traveling the stars, getting into confrontations with aliens and shit like that. It's not at all realistic. It was never going to happen. But what really annoys me about it is just how many people seem to seriously believe that Star Trek was meant to be an actual vision of what the ideal future should be like. I keep seeing this in reviews of newer episodes and stuff like that, of people bitching about the lack of optimism towards our future, people bitching about the new writers kind of not really understanding what made the original series so great, or something like that. They never The problem is that there is no such thing as a utopian society. If you had a utopian society, there is no conflict, right? So the writers always have to keep coming up with new explanations as to crazy situations that our crew members on the Starship Enterprise can get into. And what ends up happening is, eventually, if you're thinking critically about what's going on, you start understanding that Star Trek's utopian society couldn't possibly work. And that's a big reason why I, as someone who kind of understood the appeal to the appeal of this franchise to communists without ever watching the show, kind of picked up on right away, is that commies just adamantly will insist that it would be easy to eliminate work, to eliminate the human struggle, the human conditioning. We just need to care enough. We just need to have our government just drop everything and focus on taking care of people instead of enriching themselves or what have you. They don't really understand that there's nothing stopping the individual from becoming wealthy and becoming successful. These people just don't want to work. They don't want to do anything as a result of that. And it seems like they use fiction like Star Trek to kind of explain why they don't want to contribute to society in any meaningful way. Because in Star Trek, this is how they deal with the economy. This is how they deal with with like interacting with other species. This is how they deal with different cultures. This is the this is how they eliminated disease. This is what we should do as a society, even though like it's just a fucking TV show and has no basis in reality. People, well, I suppose commies are not people. Commies adamantly will weaponize stuff like this, stuff like Harry Potter, stuff like Batman, to like talk about all of their perceived evils in the world, like wealthy people simply existing, for example. I I have no interest in seeing Star Trek. I am considering like actually watching the show to get a better understanding of like the characters and like the subversive nature of the program, because I'm almost certain that all of this was intentional. All of this was like by design to force people to try and see the world in an unrealistic way. But I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know if I have the time. I don't know if I want to put in the effort. Like what it comes down to, really, though, and I think it's the same thing with Star Wars, right? It's the same thing with our political parties. Like, just acknowledge that both choices are bad, and it's time for us as a society to move past them. Like, I don't care that they have a lot of supporters. I don't care that they have a long legacy. They have destroyed everything we've done for the past 60 years and need to be eliminated. Like Star Wars and Star Trek, they need to stop being made. Like full stop. And that won't happen unless people stop giving them money. So that's kind of my stance on that. Stop giving Star Trek money. Stop fueling commie propaganda with your capitalist dollars, and move on with your life.